Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbos.
Judaism tells us when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we say is Modeh ani lefanecha. We are thanking God to be alive. The ability to start the day anew, to do something special, to perform mitzvot, something to seek, something to accomplish. On the other hand, thanks, Jeff. On the other hand, Modeh ani, it's more than gratitude. It speaks more to humility. And above all, when we say Modeh ani lefanecha, the special meaning behind this bracha, this prayer, is if we are able to find perspective in life. And finding perspective, it's one of the hardest things often that we fail to do. And I think the reason is actually quite simple. We are part of the human condition. Each and every one here, we have our own lives that we are focused on. The good, getting into your top choice of college, celebrating a milestone of a bar mitzvah, dealing with the passings of a loved one. On top of that, our health, whether good or bad, our pocketbooks, are we financially safe? So often we think of ourselves, and that's okay. But the essence of Judaism is to strive for perspective. And the reason why we want to strive for perspective is because if we're able to see perspective in life, we can do more. We see that humility, and we're able to do more mitzvot. And when we have a hard time finding perspective, Abraham Joshua Hessel, he teaches us when life is hard, Modeh ani, we take the time to see the good, not in ourselves, but in the good of other people. When we see the good in others, this is what makes all the difference in the world. And this is a very high form of finding perspective. And something like this takes time. And my own personal reflection. Age 18, I go to college, 18 to 22. Finding perspective isn't on top of my mind. And after that, I go to graduate school in the South, and then I'm off to rabbinical school. And even during rabbinical school, my primary focus is to work hard and get a good job coming out of rabbinical school. So most of the time, it's centered on me. I went to San Diego. And for those who've ever been to San Diego or lived in San Diego, it's more than a surfing community. It permeates with the might of our American military. During my first week as an assistant rabbi in San Diego, my beloved mentor, David Frank, gave me my rabbinic portfolio. It was a long list. But he wanted me to work with the Stars and Stripes Committee. This is our social action community, specifically working with members of the armed services and veterans. It's then that my eyes were open and my world totally changed. I had no concept of what it was like to serve in our country. I was led by a dear friend of mine, someone who gave me a recommendation, a reference to be a rabbi here, Captain Marcia Schulberg of the United States Navy. She was adamant about making veterans' lives better. In order for me to learn about the military experience, we participated in something called Stand Down at Balboa Park, where they militarized that base for 3 days, so therefore homeless veterans could learn professional skills, get the medical treatment, and figure out if they can get on track with their lives. And then she wanted me to go to Camp Pendleton. Again, for those who've ever been in California, when you drive on the 5, you pass a mysterious place that is absolutely huge in size. It's another city. And when you're in San Diego, you start knowing the difference between what an 03 is or an 06, what 2 stripes mean or what 3 stripes mean. You learn that there's something special about someone who volunteers for this country in order for a greater cause. So my 5 years in San Diego, one of the greatest lessons that I ever learned was not just to appreciate our military, but to see them as the true sacrifice of this country. And last week, I talked about how sometimes the Torah just sings to us at the most perfect moment to make that connection between Veterans Day and the Parashah. In Vayera, towards the end, we learn about the Akedah, the sacrificing of Isaac. Vayechi acher hadvarim ha'ele ha'elohim nisa et ha'avraham. I want to focus on the word nisa. If you were to look in a Torah commentary, the word's going to be, and God tested Abraham. But the Midrash says something different. It said that God elevated Abraham. Not tested Abraham, Yaakov got it. But elevated Abraham. He wasn't going to sacrifice his son. That never was going to happen. See, Abraham sacrificed his old life, coming to Eretz Yisrael, accepting the oneness of God, his trials and tribulations. He was our hero to make sure that the Jews would multiply as numerous as the stars in the sky. We never see this verb ever used to describe Abraham again because God saw Avram as the exalted one who defended our people and to ensure that we are here today. And I see this totally appropriate for connecting its story to our military. And sometimes when we have difficulty finding perspectives of life, all we have to do is find a myriad of stories to talk about what our troops did for this country. And once again, I'm reminded about something truly remarkable. And tonight, especially as we honor our vets, I want this congregation to know about the Ritchie boys. The Ritchie boys were German and Austrian Jewish refugees. These young men, and try to put ourselves in their shoes, they fled from Nazi Germany. They came to this country without any family. And instead of trying to figure it out in this country, they enlisted in the United States Army. They trained in a secret base in Maryland, and it was called Camp Ritchie. They learned the methods of how to interrogate someone, how to gather intelligence, and psychological warfare. And the key with the Ritchie boys is that 15,000 Austrian German Jews, they knew German. They knew German culture. And therefore, they were needed more than ever. So I want you to imagine that you are a refugee from Nazi Germany. You come to this country, you see that Statue of Liberty, but then you enlist something far greater. And then on top of that, you go back to Europe to take the fight to the Nazis. On D-Day, they landed, not with the symbol of being a Jew, but wearing the United States military uniform. They came back to the land for which they have fled. And just imagine if they were caught. But they kept on moving. We think there were 15,000 of these incredible Ritchie boys. And military historians say that they get credit for more than half of the actionable intelligence gathering in the Western Front. And because of them, they helped end tyranny in Europe. And they later served as translators at the Nuremberg trials. So this history, these heroes then and these heroes who we see tonight, that's what make life matter all the more so. So how do we walk away with this? First, we thank God that we are alive. Modeh ani lefanecha. And we have that strength, we find that perspective. And now I'm asking all of us that we are thankful for those who allow us to live freely. And when we see someone in uniform, I want us to be reminded of Abraham's sacrifice and theirs. I want us not only to thank them for their service, but something I learned in San Diego, it never hurts to ask them about their MOS, their military occupation specialty. This is empathy at its finest because it allows the veteran to reflect on what they did in our country. And here's what I want to drive home all the more so. As I've said over and over and over again, we are American Jews. We are writing the next chapter for the next generation of Jews post-October 7th. But we are American Jews. We have an obligation to celebrate God, to study Torah, to fight for Jewish self-determination. And tonight, American Jews must celebrate this country. We must celebrate its ideals, even with all of our problems. Because I see the United States military emblematic of the good. In our armed forces, it's the uniform, the flag, it's the unity that they bring to help us civilians reach our potential. I want to invite up all of our veterans to this bima. Anyone who has served this country, come on up. We're going to do something special. Come on up. Come on up. We're going to stand right around here, right? Get on these steps here so we can all see your pananim. I told Canner I was tired of the priestly blessing. No offense to that beautiful blessing in Numbers chapter 6. No, we can face the congregation, guys. Oh, sure. Phil, you can face that one.
You said if we moved up.
Moved up.
You wouldn't call
But I you know, sometimes I can have a little power on the bima. And we're all going to rise. I asked Jeff to get upstairs to get on the organ because it sounds a lot better. We're all going to stand up and we're going to sing a classic that I assume everyone knows the words for. So for those who are able, we stand.
Yaakov come up. He's an Israeli veteran.
Yaakov coming up too. You're an Israeli war veteran. Herb Rosenbaum says so you got to listen to the sergeant major. Come on up. So is Elizabeth, for that sake. Come on up too. You served your country, didn't you? Right. Anybody else that I missed? Come on up, Doc. This is also something important, too. I get to change the rules a little bit here. How's my voice? Phil's not singing, believe me. Come over here. Come on. Tell us what you do for a living and what are you wearing? And tell us your name, of course.
So I'm Tyler Strassner, and I'm the medical director of the geriatrics department at the Tuscaloosa VA. And I have been serving our veterans proudly for approximately 10 years, coming up in December. And it's very special to me, and I am so glad to be here today and to be able to represent, because the veteran is the purpose.
Okay. Hit it, Jeff. This is for you guys. I don't mess around. Sing it.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home.